Welcome back, Rudrance for Black and White Network. If you're new to the channel, punch subscribe, like, comment. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you share this. If you're listening on podcasts, make sure you subscribe on podcasts. So the other day I made a video where we talked about Mark Cuban, who is an NBA owner. He owns the Dallas Mavericks. He's also been a successful businessman. Came out and made some comments about business. And he said the strangest thing, and he said randomly that he believes that going woke for businesses is good for business. Now, as we get ready to get into this story, and we're going to cover one of his partners, and I did hear the other day because he actually made some comments. I think it was 2 days afterwards, and I actually saw a little video to it, because they are on Shark Tank together. Kevin O'Leary is on Shark Tank with Mark Cuban on this show. And he said, before they were getting ready to tape the show, him and Mark Cuban sort of got into a bit of a tiff, a bit of an argument, a bit of a disagreement over this statement, because Kevin O'Leary does not agree with Mark Cuban on this at all. I found it baffling that he could believe this. Now, keep in mind, this is June 12th. That's Target. $15.7 billion in lost money. Shares approach a 52-week low. Yeah. How about Bud Light, America's top beer for decades, falls to second, following LGBTQ marketing criticism. Dylan Mulvaney. Cracker Barrel faces backlash for posting celebratory Pride Month rocking chair, showing true colors. I did that video. And how about, as of June 2nd, Anheuser Busch losing $27 billion in value. I just don't see the math working out. Okay, I think in a lot of ways, Mark Cuban's looking at businesses that were already very high up on the revenue rank and going, well, they went woke, so it's good for business. No, their businesses most likely lost money, which is, by the way, bad for shareholders. If you're a shareholder, I'd be furious. It's probably bad for business, but they're so large at this point, they still rank up there among the top businesses. But look, I also said the other day that I believe this narrative has changed a great deal. In other words, I believe now when people say they're going to boycott something, by the way, Disney has lost about $125 billion, laid off 7,000 employees, including ESPN employees. I said the other day, I believe the narrative has changed. I believe people have turned off their television sets. They quit going to the movies, to the box office to see Disney films. These woke films are bombing. They're not even making back their budget. And Bud Light boycotts, Target boycotts, Cracker Barrel boycotts, they're not ending this time. People have had enough. People are fed up. They're like, you know what? There's a time we take a stand, and this is it. So let's get to Kevin O'Leary. Shark Tank star, this is the Blaze. Kevin O'Leary rebuffed billionaire businessman Mark Cuban on Wednesday for claiming the woke agenda is good for business. In her interview with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Cuban defended companies, quote, going woke. Quote, there's a reason almost all top 10 market cap companies in the U.S. can be considered woke. It's good for business. The remarks come after Cuban invited participants at a conference last month to label him as woke. Quote, call me woke. You don't need a DEI. You can call me whatever you want. I call it good business, Cuban said. It means taking the people that you're selling to and making sure your workforce looks like them and making sure that you reflect their values and being able to connect to that. That works for me. I don't know about that. Speaking on Fox News, O'Leary revealed that he and Cuban discussed the woke issue on the set of Shark Tank, and he believes Cuban is just plain wrong. According to O'Leary, when businesses participate in the culture wars, they alienate customers. Quote, when you're dealing with Disney, when you're Disney or you're a beer company or you're Target, you want to sell to everybody, everything, all the time. When you get involved in partisan issues, you basically lose 50% of your constituents. Absolutely. Why you would do that when you're a consumer goods or service company makes absolutely no sense. After all, businesses aren't started with the mission to participate in partisan issues, O'Leary explained, but to serve customers and employees, plain and simple. Why would you eliminate 50% of your potential customer base? That is a basic failure of capitalism 101. Their role is not to educate society on societal issues. They're learning that very quickly, referring to Disney, Target, and Anheuser Busch. And in the case of business, you can measure it by the second when they're public, by the stock price. When you lose 9, 10, 11, 12 billion of market cap, you know that you've offended somebody, and that person is your customer. That's bad business. It's really bad business. It sounds like Kevin O'Leary has his mind in the right place. It still has never made sense what these businesses are doing. Now, there's something called an HRC. It's essentially it's like a Human Rights Commission or something like that, and they're the ones that provide out these ESG and these DEI scores for these companies. And these companies, oh crap, they get the panicking, they're not as good, or maybe they're number one, decide to take a chance, this, that, and the other, and they're catering to these scores as opposed to their consumers now. They're worried about media backlash, woke backlash, what we used to call Twitter backlash before Elon purchased it, right? Facebook backlash. Oh, the wokes are going to go crazy. They're going to be offended. And they're now worried about catering to this score. This score is going to really and truly destroy some businesses. By the way, there's a theory out there that George Soros is behind some of that. The human rights. I think it's, in fact, George Soros, I think, donated $100 million to get involved in that ESG and that DEI situation. Credit Patrick Bet-David on that. I heard him talking about it the other day, and I was like, oh, that's very interesting that the boogeyman is behind that. And also, not surprising, it's his open source foundation or something like that he's involved in. I believe that's got something to do with that. Anyway, there's a good video out there on that, and it will tell you exactly what's going on. But it does raise some eyebrows. It opens some eyes. See what I'm talking about? Wow. I mean, it's just terrible business. It's terrible business practice. It doesn't make sense. Why would you do it? Why would you want to alienate anybody? Because the fact is, if you just don't say anything, if you just don't do anything political, you just keep doing business as you go every single day, nothing to see here, please move along. Everybody keeps buying products. They keep buying beer. They keep going to the Cracker Barrel. They keep, keep going to Target. And now Modelo Especial is now the number one beer in the country. Bud Light was number one for decades. Think this is not hurting business, Mark Cuban? It makes all the sense in the world that this guy would come out and say that, considering he's an owner of in the NBA, a league that basically lets the inmates run the asylum. The players have all the power. The owners aren't even called governors anymore, or called owners anymore. They're called governors. Why? Because the players are woke and they don't want to be offended because the players are predominantly black. I mean, the players in that league literally are carrying Adam Silver's balls around in a petri dish. For crying out loud. Is that right? Petri dish, suitcase, luggage, a purse in LeBron James's case. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.